Okay, so we continue with our laws of Tzedakah Maaser, and we're on section 3. Let me see how long it is. Close to the end. So, our topic: who is obligated to Mitzvah Tzedakah? Okay, and we start with if somebody following, it's page 33. Last paragraph on this page, F. Person who cannot afford to give tzedakah, and it's very famously asked question. Person is struggling; they hardly can survive, right? Okay. So a person who cannot afford to give tzedakah, one who collects tzedakah for the poor, is prohibited from collecting from an individual who is known to give tzedakah every time he is asked, despite not having means. Such a person is always gives because he embarrassed not to, regardless of the fact that he cannot afford it. One is not allowed to put an individual in such a situation, even if the person wants to give. One may not accept tzedakah from him. Now we're going to explain it. I mean, for me, it's a very sad situation. And people behave like that, and we're going to explain why. Okay, so now we're talking about this person, I guess, who comes and collects tzedakah. Right. So one more time, one who collects tzedakah for the poor is prohibited from collecting individual who he knows gives tzedakah every time he's asked, despite that not having means. So there is some people, and for them dignity, it's like right, the dignity and self-respect is more important than everything in the world, and how people view them. Some people do not care, but for some people it's everything. So every time somebody comes to them to ask for money or something, they give, and they give a lot. So and I mean a lot like in on their scale, but for them it's a killer. For me, okay, maybe I sometimes I give a little more, but I'm going to survive, right? But for them it's a life and death situation. So this guy, this tzedakah collector, is not allowed to ask them for money. So if he can avoid them, he must avoid them. And it's actually there is the story in Gemara when it was such a rabbi. He was a big tzaddik, but was very poor, and he did not wait for this Gabbai tzedakah come to him. He was actually running. As soon as he sees somebody come to collect, he would run after them and said, I want to donate. Tell me who collecting for. And once these two Gabbais came and they saw this rabbi, and they started running away because of this. It's prohibited for such from a person like that, right? He needs tzedakah, but he would never take. He only gives. All right. So that's a very interesting story. So we're not allowed. So even he's nice, and we're not allowed to put somebody in such a situation. We have to be very, very sensitive. Right, so maybe if you came to collect, this person is there, so maybe not to collect this time, right? And the people are they're so embarrassed, like with their like means. It's crazy. In place where I live, for example, it was maybe 20-25 years ago. So, and I mean, I'm not sure when exactly it started, but people were trying to do all of these fancy weddings for their children. The wedding is what, 3-4 hours, 5 hours, I don't know, right? And they would spend a lot of money. They would take a mortgage, basically, that they would work for another 15 years. 15 years for these 4 hours fancy schmancy that everybody came and said, wow, it's a nice wedding, this and that, and children in some sense they were expecting such weddings, right? Because their friends had one, and their parents also not rich people, and rich people, for them it's normal to have something like that. And in some community, in Hasidic community, when there is more or less subordination, right? So this, I don't remember exactly which one. I mean, few of them, they actually got together and said, we're going to instill a rule, right? So you're not allowed to have more than 3 people banned, I think. Like that's 4 people, 5, I don't know, like only a few people banned. People would have like 15 people. Like who needs that? And you cannot invite more than 500 people, I don't know, 300 or whatever, to 50. No, so like they were limiting all of these expenses. You're not allowed to have this, and you're not allowed to have that, and flowers on so much, not this much, and because with these rules, they trying to save people's life, because people like were working like for like slaves, many jobs just to look like rich in somebody else's eyes, and it was very, very sad. And many people, I mean, still I know some community, they still doing it like to impress other people. So he's a bus driver, but he has $60,000-$70,000 spending. You see this? Okay. Continue. Such a person always give because he's embarrassed not to, right? So these people, of course, they know that they cannot afford such a wedding, but they still going to do it because they're embarrassed not to do what relatives are going to say. Okay. Regardless of the fact that he cannot afford it, right? One is not allowed to put an individual in such a situation. So as I said, maybe sometimes do not collect, just leave. You know the person is there, and he's going to try to give you money, right? So everybody would see. That's not a good idea. Even if not one person wants to give, one may not accept tzedakah from him. So I mean, of course, politely, respectfully, but do not take money from him.